morning, artists, and welcome to day 68 of the epic journey. It's a really cold and rainy Sunday morning here in Durban, South Africa, and you might hear some rain on the roof, and I'm all snuggled up in a blankie while I'm doing this voiceover. Now what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be glazing some colors onto the face to warm it up, and we're getting closer to the end product now. We're not quite there yet, and we won't quite be there by the end of this video either, but we're getting much closer to the end product now. As you can see, I'm starting to put some Viridian green into the eyes, and then I'm going to back that up with a little bit of burnt sienna, because Ronan's eyes are quite hazel. I will come back at a later stage and carry on with those eyes, but that's as much glazing as we can do on them now. I'm putting a little bit of burnt sienna also into the corner of her eyes. What I'm doing in the flesh is alizarin crimson. Now, alizarin crimson is an incredibly powerful pigment. A little goes a very long way. So you don't need a lot of it. It's going on in very thin layers. If you put too much, and you're going to start looking red, and I don't want it to look red. I want that alizarin crimson to work with the yellow that we put down originally underneath, that very sort of yellowy, fleshy, dead layer that we had. I want the alizarin crimson to work with that layer to be more peachy than red. And as you can see, if you do quick comparisons to my hand that's in the viewfinder there, you'll see it's actually getting quite close to the flesh color that I'm expecting to get. She's starting to really come alive now. At this stage, only alizarin crimson on the face, nothing more. The canvas does look very oily in the footage as I'm watching it. It actually is in fact not that oily. It's just oily enough for the brush to be able to glide over it. Okay, now we're putting some burnt sienna into the hair. Now this is only the second glaze layer that the hair has received. If you remember, the first one was a little bit of French ultramarine into the really dark areas. And then I'm putting a little bit of green down the one. What's nice about that little bit of Viridian in the corner is that up until now it's actually looked as if that whole canvas corner is covered by hair. You weren't really aware of the fact that there was background there. So I quite like that little bit of Viridian there, because it's suddenly just separated the hair from the background. Into the lips, a little bit of alizarin crimson again. On the right hand side, her left, our right, I've put a little bit of burnt sienna as well as the alizarin crimson, because the burnt sienna, just that side of her mouth is slightly warmer because that's the direction of the light. So I've just put a little bit of burnt sienna there to just slightly yellow it up, because that'll help with light direction. Okay, I stepped back and had a look and decided her cheeks need a little bit more of alizarin crimson. And then a little bit of burnt sienna into her eyebrows to make them match her hair, of course. Now you can see, particularly in the whites of her lips and the whites of her eyes, I've tried to keep those areas as clean as possible. We will come back right at the end and slightly touch up some of the whites. Now, as you can see there, I'm just cleaning out some areas. Those are not necessarily stark white areas, but they're areas that I don't want them to have a lot of other colors on, so I'm cleaning up those white areas a little bit. I've just got a little bit of terps on my brush there and just wiping out some of the glaze. Because that's the thing, when you're glazing, you will end up covering areas that you don't necessarily want covered. So you just got to go back with a bit of terps on a brush and just slightly clean up some of the areas that you have covered that you don't intend to be covered. And there we can see a before and after, the work that we've done today. Before the warm glazing on the left, that was as we finished it the day before yesterday. And then of course after today's work, she's starting to look much more realistic, looking like not quite so dead anymore. There's still a lot of work to be done. Listen, we've got a ways to go. There's a lot of light shining on her lips, for example, that we have yet to get in. But unless you've seen the original photograph, you might actually be looking at that and thinking that it's already finished, or close to being finished. And it could actually stand alone as a finished painting, but there's quite a lot of work to it that I still want to do. Okay, I just want to show you the eyes quickly. As we zoom right in, we can see there the French ultramarine fading into the alizarin, fading into the burnt sienna that we put in there. The little bit of warmth that we've added there today under the left eye there, sort of the alizarin crimson as it's going over the French ultramarine that was in a previous layer. We're getting the slightly mauvish tinge flanked with some alizarin, tiny little thin layers of alizarin crimson. So the eyes are starting to look much more alive now. Artists, we're actually quite close to the end of our glaze portrait now. You know, back in the old Renaissance days when this was the way of painting, they certainly would never have done a painting in a handful of days like what I've done. Theirs would be a lot slower process and would have taken a lot longer, and obviously the quality therefore would be far better than what we've produced here. So this is my abbreviated version, shall we say, of it. Of course I chose to do a portrait that was quite close cropped and small, because for tutorial reasons we don't want this portrait to carry on for months and months. Artists, thank you once again for joining me for day 68. I know that if you're in South Africa and you're getting the kind of weather that I'm doing, it's probably best that we stay snuggled up in bed all day. I have a lunch date with a friend this afternoon, and when I come back from lunch I'm going to put the finishing touches to this painting. So hopefully, with a bit of luck, tomorrow in day 69 we'll see the end of the glaze tutorial. Let's see how it goes. Thanks again for joining me. Please don't forget to like and share. I'm really keen to get to 10,000 likes by the end of the epic journey, so we've got 10 months to go, so your help, it would be much appreciated in that regard. So please like and share, and also if you want to catch up on some of the videos from before, the YouTube channel has got them all in chronological order in a playlist, so you can just push play and keep going. Don't forget that, and of course subscribe to the YouTube channel please, because although I'm concentrating on likes, it would be nice to have some YouTube subscriptions too. So folks, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow, Monday. Hopefully the rain will still continue, because it'll be nice. It'll really be nice to have a lot of rain. We've been so dry this season. I'm loving this rain. So hopefully we'll see you on a nice rainy Monday as well. Have a lovely Sunday, and I will see you tomorrow in day 69. Thanks again. Bye.